Good afternoon. We're going to call the Sparks City Council meeting for Monday, June 23rd, 2025 to order. And if we could start off with the roll call, please.
Mayor Lawson is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Anderson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell. Here. Bybee. Here. Rodriguez.
Here.
City Attorney Duncan.
Here.
City Manager Lauthan.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move on to opening ceremonies with the invocation speaker, Pastor David Solomon Hall Sr. with the Sparks Seventh-day Adventist Church. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let us pray. Gracious and eternal God, we thank you for the gift of this day and for the opportunity to gather in service to our community. We ask for your presence to be among us now. Grant each council member wisdom beyond their own, clarity of thought, and a spirit of cooperation as they deliberate the matters before them. Help us to listen with empathy, speak with humility, and act with integrity. May every decision made here reflect a commitment to justice, compassion, and the common good. Bless our city, its leaders, its workers, and its citizens. May unity, hope, and progress be the fruit of our efforts together. In your holy name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. In fact, would you mind opening us up with the Pledge of Allegiance as well?
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for doing the double duty for us there. Okay, so we'll move on to public comment. And the first one that we have here is Dale Harding. Dale, if you'd come down, introduce yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay. Thank you for that beautiful prayer. My name is Dale Harding. I've been a resident of the Sparks for 23 or 24 years. I've seen the valley kind of grow, and I'm speaking on behalf of Endlin Farms. It is a great family-oriented farm activities. They have them all year round. I've been fortunate. I've actually worked for them a couple of times in the wintertime for the fall festival. My kids have grown up here and gone to that farm at least a half a dozen times on school field trips to see the animals and stuff. And they still talk about how fun that was. I hope that whatever they're trying to accomplish here today gets accomplished, because it's a great place. It's alcohol-free, very family-oriented, and I'm here to support them 100%. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Natalie Endlin.
Hi, I'm Natalie Andelin, co-owner of Andelin Family Farm. Thank you, City Council members, for taking my comment. Just wanted to express the joy that we've had in the last 16 years of opening our farm to the community, and we have seen the jobs it's created and the families that have loved coming and the memories that they've made. Our motto is where memories are grown, and we just feel strongly that it's not just pumpkins and corn that we're selling. It's the experiences that people have at the farm. And I know this has been kind of a long road, and we're excited for the possibilities, if this passes, that we would be able to make the farm an even better experience, bring in utilities, add lots of wonderful things that would expand and grow the farm, and also just make it a great place, but also preserve what it's become and why it's such a great place.
Great, thank you very much. And Mark Markell.
A Yucaipa man was in critical condition Friday at Loma Linda University Medical Center, where he was taken for treatment of head injuries after a car crash Thursday, authorities said. Mark Markell, 24, was thrown from a 1977 Datsun as it overturned on Live Oak Canyon Road at the eastbound Interstate 10 off-ramp at 4:30 p.m., said California Highway Patrol Officer Amber Drysdale. The driver was driving south on Live Oak Canyon Road when he lost control of the car, struck a curb, and skidded into the off-ramp. The vehicle rolled over several times and landed on top of Mark Markell, Drysdale said.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, Mr. Pro Tem Mayor, City Council member, City Manager, and City Attorney. My name is Mark Markell. I'm a concerned Reno resident. I'm sorry, Nevada resident. And I have a cue card here. I'm reading. I was in 13 car crashes. I had 8 drunk drivings, 23 reckless drivings, and 32 driving on a suspended license. So this was bound to happen to me. I have a traumatic brain injury, and I can't talk or see or hear well. The car lands on my head. And as a kid, I didn't listen to my parents, teachers, and all they were trying to do was educate me. God willed me alive to show you what could happen if you get in the car with a drunk driver or do drugs. I can't drive anymore. I waited 18 years to get my license and had it for 3 months. And this is my mission in life, to show people and warn people about getting a car with a drunk driver. And I tried to start an organization, Mark's PAD, which is People Against Drunk Driving, but I had no success in that. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate it. Okay, do we have any other public comment? No? All right, we'll move on to item 5.1, approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion? Member Abbott
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
and Member Rodriguez? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote. Oh, I guess just vote. Member Vanderwell.
Aye.
Okay. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. And approval of the minutes from the June 9th, 2025 meeting. Member Bybee?
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council meeting for June 9th, 2025 as submitted.
Member Rodriguez? Second. All right, please vote. Member Bybee? Vanderwell?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, passes unanimously. Thank you. Oh, my. And we'll move on to consent items. Does anyone wish to pull or change any of the consent items? If not, a motion would be accepted. Member Rodriguez.
I move to approve the consent agenda items 8.1 through 8.3 as submitted.
Thank you. Member Bybee?
I'll second that motion.
All right, please vote. Member Vanderwell?
Aye.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. And we'll move on to general business items. And the first one is 9.1, consideration, discussion, possible approval to purchase various commercial insurance policies to protect the city and Truckee Meadows water reclamation facilities' financial interests with approximate premium of $2,222,404 plus $30,000 for cybersecurity services to be paid from the IT security budget for the next policy periods to authorize the city manager to execute policy documents.
Mouthful. Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, and manager. My name is Mike Payne. I'm the risk manager for the record. I'm here this afternoon to request your approval of the 2026 property, casualty, and excess work comp policies for the city and Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. These policies will include property and contents, including boilers and machinery, auto physical damage, flood damage, and cyber liability, public agency liability, employee dishonesty, tenant users liability, and excess workers' compensation. The city maintains a separate property policy for Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility, including property and boiler and machinery coverage, which is also included in this agenda item for consideration. The estimated total premiums for the policies are $2,222,404, plus an additional $30,000 for cybersecurity services that'll be paid out of the IT security budget. We originally had $2,367,960 budgeted for this expense in FY26, which resulted in an estimated budget surplus of $145,556. Surplus was comprised of $9,755 variance for the City of Sparks property and casualty, $41,000 positive budget variance for excess workers' compensation, and a positive budget variance of $94,612 for Truckee Meadows. The total estimated premiums proposed for this renewal cycle show a year-to-year increase of approximately 2%, $47,155 from the current fiscal year. The city's claims history reflects a number of claims made against the liability policy over the past 5 years. The value of the losses when compared to the premium paid for the coverage, the loss ratio, results in an increase in the liability insurance renewal of 12% over the expiring premium. The property and casualty insurance market has stabilized this year, which I'm very glad to see and share, and resulted in decreased premiums for the city's property and cyber coverage. After discussions with Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Director, it's recommended to increase the deductible at Truckee Meadows to $100,000 per occurrence from the current $50,000 per occurrence, and reduce the premium by $43,831 per year. The resulting 26 premium will be $802,523. The quoted premium for Truckee Meadows Reclamation Facility increased by 7% to $902,615 if we renew at the current $50,000 deductible level. Since the water reclamation facility has had no losses in over 5 years, it was determined that it's fiscally responsible to increase the deductible from $50,000 to $100,000 and save approximately $100,000 per year in premium. The proposed liability policies have no material changes from the expiring policies. The self-insured retention for all liability claims is $500,000 with aggregate limits of $5 million per claim type. The city is no longer under the current agreement required to utilize a third-party administrator beginning in FY26, so this will result in an elimination of those expenses going forward as well. As a result of the city's and our IT department's continued investment and diligence in the area of cybersecurity, the cyber liability policy renewed with a premium reduction of $12,159 and an increase in coverage limits from $2 million to $3 million. In addition, the excess workers' compensation insurer has issued a 2-year rate guarantee on our premiums. I'm available for any questions, and we also have representatives from USI, our insurance broker, and the Nevada Public Agency Insurance Pool available in the audience.
Thank you, sir. Anyone have questions? All right, with that, willing to take a motion. Member Abbott.
I move to approve purchasing various commercial insurance policies to protect the city's and Truckee Meadows water reclamation facilities' financial interests with approximate premiums of $2,222,404 plus $30,000 for cybersecurity services to be paid from the IT security budget for the next policy periods as presented, and to authorize the city manager to execute policy documents.
Thank you. Member Bybee?
I'll second that motion.
All right, please vote. Member Vanderwell?
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously. Thank you. And we'll move on to 9.2, consideration, discussion, possible approval of construction contract AC 6127 in the amount of $4,996,007 with Sierra Nevada Construction Incorporated for the 2025 Street Rehabilitation Unit, Kate Smith Neighborhood Phase 2 project, federally funded bid 2425016, PWP WA 2025-358, excuse me.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tempore, members of the council, and Eugene Kura, Transportation Manager. I have here before you a construction contract for the 2025 Street Rehabilitation Unit 1, Kate Smith Neighborhood Phase 2 project with Sierra Nevada Construction. A little background, this project is part of an ongoing effort where selected roads are fully rehabilitated to replace roadway surfaces, failed sidewalks, curb and gutter, curb ramps, and driveway transitions that improves the safety and connectivity for all road users. This project will replace over 250,000 square feet of roadway surfaces and approximately 9,000 linear feet of sidewalk. Also, this project is supported by the federal community project funds in the amount of $1,372,000 that was awarded to the city in 2024, aimed at improving walkability in the Kate Smith neighborhood, where the majority of residents are considered in the low to moderate income households. Here's an overview map of the scope of this project. As you can see, Rock Boulevard is on the east side of this project, followed by Prater Way on the south, I Street to the north, and Sullivan to the west. Funding for this project is accommodated in the council-approved 2025 fiscal year capital improvements program. 2 qualified bids was received on May 28, 2025, and staff recommends council approve the construction contract with Sierra Nevada Construction in the amount of $4,996,007. To answer a few questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Right. We'll accept a motion. Member Bybee?
Happy to make a motion and really glad to see this project finally come to fruition.
Likewise.
It absolutely needs it over near Kate Smith. So I'm happy to move to approve the construction contract AC 6127 in the amount of $4,996,007 with Sierra Nevada Construction, Inc. for the 2025 Street Rehabilitation Unit 1, Kate Smith Neighborhood Phase 2 project, federally funded bid number 24-25-016, PWP WA 2025-358.
All right, thank you. Member?
I second. Thank you.
All right, and before we call for a vote, actually open it up for Member Abbott
Yeah,
to
I
make a comment.
just want to say how excited this project's finally happening. I know it's been a long time coming. I know a lot of the neighbors are jealous of the neighbors that haven't. They're jealous of the neighbors that already got their roads replaced, and so these are gonna catch them up, and everyone will be happy in that neighborhood. Obviously, they're already pretty happy, but this is a project well needed, especially those kiddos at Kate Smith, and just all of our people that go to Deer Park and that whole neighborhood. So just an exciting project. It's a lot of dollars, but well needed in that whole neighborhood because those roads are definitely we're in need. So thank you.
Agree.
Mhm.
Look forward to getting this project going.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you, and please vote then. Member Vanderwell. Aye. All right, with that, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And 9.3, consideration, discussion, possible approval of construction contract AC 6126 in the amount of $1,784,007 with Sierra Nevada Construction Incorporated for the 2025 and 2026 Preventive Maintenance Slurry Project bid 2425017 PWP WA 2025362.
All right. Well, good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tempore, members of the council, and Eugene Kura, Transportation Manager again. I have here before you another construction contract for the 2025-2026 Preventive Maintenance Slurry Project with Sierra Nevada Construction. A little background: as part of the city's transportation maintenance plan, this is an ongoing effort where roadway preventative maintenance treatments are applied on selected roads with slurry seal, asphalt patching, and other forms of treatments to extend the roadway's useful life. This project will treat over 5 million square feet of roadway surfaces. Here's a map overview. The scope of this project. Apologize if it's a little bit hard to read, but if there is a specific location you would like me to zoom into, please feel free to let me know. All right. Funding for this project is accommodated in the council both approved 2025 and 2026 fiscal year capital improvements program. 3 qualified bids was received for this project on May 29, 2025. And staff recommends council approve the construction contract with Sierra Nevada Construction in the amount of $1,784,007. Happy to answer any of your questions.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any questions? If not, I'd like to make a motion, or like to entertain a motion. How about that? I'm too busy to make. Yeah. All right, Member Abbott.
I move to approve the construction contract AC-6126 in the amount of $1,784,007, no cents, with Sierra Nevada Construction, Inc. for the 2025 and 2026 Preventative Maintenance Slurry Project, bid number 24/25-017, PWP WA 2025362.
All right, thank you. Member Rodriguez.
And second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Member Vanderwell? Aye. And with that, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. 9.4, consideration, discussion, possible approval of resolution number 3466, suspending outdoor dining and encroachment permit assessments for the Victorian Square and other matters properly relating thereto. Good afternoon, Mr. Rundle.
Good afternoon. I'm Mayor Pro Tem Anderson, City Parks Council members, Jim Rundle, Community Services Director. The agenda item requests that the City Council consider suspending the annual fees associated with outdoor dining permits for our businesses in Victorian Square that desiring encroachment permits. In COVID, the City Council did adopt a fee waiver for a few years to take the fee to zero to help with the redevelopment efforts and sustain the businesses in our town area, which I know is very important to all of you to protect our businesses. In 2022-2023 fiscal year, the council did amend that and increase the fee from waiving it to a 50% reduction. And then in 2023, calendar year 2023, the council did reinstate the fee of 100%. There's approximately 14 people that are applying for the outdoor dining permits. The application is important to staff because it does help us identify and delineate where the outdoor dining is occurring and should be occurring, which helps our public safety personnel enforce the appropriate standards on the businesses down. But what staff is submitting for your consideration today is to promote downtown business and support Victorian Square. The council consider suspending the fee associated with outdoor dining down. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Member Abbott?
I have a quick one. When do people normally submit their application to renew?
Right about now.
Okay.
Councilmember, due before July.
So has anyone submitted? And I guess if they do, would just give them a refund?
If they submitted, we would provide them a refund, but it is important that we identify on a site. Yes, right. I think it's July 1st. For those that haven't, we'll reach out, discuss if they want to do it again, because some, to be honest, don't realize. Our team works with them to ensure they get their permit. Should they
Thank you, sir.
obtain it.
Understood. Thanks.
Member Bybee.
So Jim, they still require the permit, but we're just, we're rescinding the fees, so they won't pay a fee for that permit.
That's what staff is asking,
Okay.
council member, is that the city council suspend the fee, and if in time the council believes it's the appropriate thing to reinstate, we don't have to do a new ordinance to do that. This is a bill, but I mean, you don't have to create new municipal code. You'd be able to do that via this process.
Okay.
Good.
And I do appreciate that. And obviously the permits, like you said, are to know where they are, delineate with the businesses where they can do the outdoor dining. And I really appreciate this. I know during COVID, we really felt the need to try to help businesses out. And I think right now with the economy being what it's been, and businesses, all of us having a hard time paying for things, this makes sense. And I especially like it with our new Summer in the City of closing Victorian Square around the 4th of July through October, having Victorian Square closed off and really trying to promote more of those restaurants and businesses and hopefully getting more people downtown for that. So I appreciate this and I support it. Thank you.
And I'll just add to that, thank you for bringing this to our attention as we're kind of experimenting Victorian and how we reinvent that area down there and try and save some money on opening and closing the street all the time. I appreciate you guys bringing this to us and hopefully help out those businesses that are down there experimenting with us.
Well, Councilmember Anderson, I think to your point, Councilmember Bybee, you have adopted the resolution recently for identifying mechanisms for helping people in our downtown, and this is a follow-up to that resolution. That
All right. And Member Abbott.
Yep. I will 100% agree that that's. I think we're doing a great step of being a good partner in our downtown Victorian Square with Summer in the City, and just showing that we want to support some of those local businesses. And I'll read the motion now. I just want to add that in. So, I move to approve resolution number 3466, suspending outdoor dining encroachment permit fees for Victorian Square and other matters properly related thereto.
Thank you, Member Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Member Vanderwell?
Aye.
Thank you. With that, passes unanimously. 9.5, consideration, discussion, possible approval of resolution number 3467 governing management, professional, and technical employees for the period July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2029, with an estimated cost increase of $125,970 in the general fund and $59,123 in all other funds in FY26. $113,405 in the general fund and $76,312 in all other funds in fiscal year 27.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson and City Council members. For the record, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. Before you for consideration today is a resolution that would govern the Management, Professional, and Technical Employees Group. We often refer to them as the MPT Group for fiscal years 26 through 29. The proposed resolution contains a different approach to addressing total compensation than we've pursued in the past. Most recently, in 2018, the city adopted the Korn Ferry Hay system for calculating employees' salary based on comparisons to national agencies. That approach was systematic and defensible, but only addressed salaries and did not directly consider local comparison agencies. This new approach would look at total compensation, so both salary, health insurance premiums, deferred compensation matching, and other benefits, as well as focusing on local agencies that are our comparators and competitors for qualified employees. This analysis is commonly referred to as a labor market adjustment because based on that analysis, we would be proposing to increase certain positions' salaries to make them more competitive in the labor market. With that bit of introduction, what the resolution would achieve if approved is it would provide that labor market adjustment in fiscal year 2026. Those increases, if any, would be capped at 7.5% each year. In fiscal year 27, a 1.25% general wage increase, which historically we have called a cost of living adjustment, would be applied to all employees, even if their positions were over market in the fiscal year 26 labor market analysis. In fiscal year 28, another labor market analysis would be completed and adjustments made accordingly, again capped at that 7.5%. Finally, in fiscal year 29, there would be a 3% general wage increase. Some other proposed changes include increases to deferred compensation matching of $25 per pay period in fiscal year 26, and another $25 increase in fiscal year 28. Similarly, staff is proposing to increase the maximum longevity pay by $500 in fiscal year 26 and another $500 in fiscal year. Last but not least, the prior resolution provided for 4 weeks of continuous paid parental leave for qualifying employees. This resolution proposes to allow employees to use that paid parental leave non-continuously, so they can break that. In sum, the changes to the resolution that are proposed are anticipated to increase costs by $125,970 in the general fund and $59,123 in all other funds in fiscal year 2026. In fiscal year 27, these changes would increase costs by an estimated $113,405 in the general fund and $76,312 in all other funds in fiscal year 27. The cost increases for fiscal years 28 and 29 can't yet be determined based on that labor. I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Allison? All right, with that, I'll take a motion. Member Rodriguez?
I move to approve resolution number 3467, governing management, professional, and technical employees for the period July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2029, with an estimated cost increase of $125,970 in the general fund and $59,123 in all other funds in fiscal year 26, and $113,405 in the general fund and $76,312 in all the funds fiscal year 27.
All right, thank you. Member Bybee?
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a first and a second, so please vote. Member Vanderwell?
Aye.
All right, with that, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And 9.6, Madam Clerk, this is a first reading.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is the first reading of Bill number 2839 to amend the DeAndrea Development Standards Handbook to modify the permitted uses within the general commercial land use category related to animal services and financial institutions, and add definitions for animal services in the DeAndrea planned development generally located east of Vista Boulevard, north of Gino Martini Parkway, and south of Los Altos Parkway, Sparks, Nevada, in the PD planned development DeAndrea zoning district PCN 18-0040 and PD 24-0006. A public hearing will be held and Bill 2839 will be acted upon at the regular meeting of the Sparks City Council on Monday, July 14th, 2025 at 2 p.m. Thank you.
All right, you did so well on that. We'll move on to 10.1, a second reading, public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is the second reading of Bill number 2836, an ordinance amending Sparks Municipal Code Sections 2.08.020, appointments to positions, organization of city, 2.08.060, appointed positions, and 2.25.150, city council approval requirements.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Pro Tem Anderson and City Council members, City Attorney. My name is Jessica Coberly, and I'm the Acting Chief Assistant City Attorney. And I'm here to present to you this ordinance, which is an ordinance to amend certain code provisions relating to the City Manager's authority. And so the current code requires that the city manager seek City Council approval before reorganizing a department or managing appointed positions within the already City Council approved employee complement. And so this new ordinance is necessary for the city manager to appropriately manage city departments. And it also provides secondarily an update to the city manager's purchasing authority so that the City of Sparks ordinance matches the current NRS that provides the same purchasing authority for state employees. So the quick background is that the city manager already has, under the city charter, the authority to have particular responsibilities over the city employees. So he's supposed to appoint all the heads of the departments, fulfill executive, administrative, professional roles, and organize those departments and divisions within the city. But despite those broad obligations in our city charter, the city ordinances, in the municipal code, it actually says the city manager must seek council authority to do those things, which then removes basically that authority from him and puts it back for city council. And so what we looked at when we looked at this ordinance is that the city council already selects the city manager, chooses to trust him in that position, and approves the budget that sets out the complement of how many employees there are and within the city. And so the belief from the research is that the city manager should, under the city charter, have the authority pursuant to city council's direction regarding budgeted positions to move positions within the complement and reorganize them without coming before you. And this also dovetails with some discussions we've had before about trying to reduce the burden on staff when it comes to city council meetings and agendas. You hired the city manager because you trust him, you trust what he's going to do with the city complement, and he is already received instruction from you with the budget and with how many positions we have. And so what we're proposing here is that if we need to change a position title, if we need to move a position from one department to another, that the city manager be authorized to do that. With the argument being he technically is under our city charter, but our ordinances have just taken some of that and placed that back at city council. So that's the city manager authority as it pertains to the complement. And then the other change that we've proposed here is just to bring the ordinance in line with NRS 332.065, which has an allocation of requiring public bidding for any amounts over $100,000 per year. And so what our current ordinance says is over $100,000 at all. And so we're just making those to marry up with the change in looking at contracts, how much they cost per year as opposed to in total. And with that, staff recommends that we pass this ordinance and open for any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for Jessica? All right, do we have a motion?
Mayor Pro Tem, this is a public hearing.
Oh, thank you so very much, Madam Clerk. We're going to open this up for public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please fill out a card, come down and speak. And it doesn't look like we have any, so we'll close public hearing and move it back for a motion. Member Abbott.
I move to adopt Bill number 2836, amending Sparks Municipal Code sections 2.08.020, appointments to positions organized of the city, 2.08.060, appointing positions, and 2.25.150, city council approval requirements.
Thank you. Member Bybee?
I will second that motion.
All right, we have a second to the motion, and although please vote. Madam Vanderwell.
Aye.
All right, with that, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And Madam Clerk, 10.1, or 10.2, excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is the second reading public hearing of Bill Number 2834, an ordinance amending Chapter 9.48 of the Sparks Municipal Code, which prohibits camping on public property in the Truckee River Corridor, Sparks Marina Park Corridor, Victorian Square Corridor, city parks, and city-owned parking structures.
All right, thank you. Chief.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson and members of the City Council. For the record, I'm Chris Crawforth, your police chief. Joining me as a co-presenter is our City Attorney, Wes Duncan. Before you today is an amendment to our camping ordinances within the city. I will highlight the changes first. As you are aware, our ordinances are misdemeanor crimes, and our current ordinance does not allow camping within 1,000 feet of the Truckee River within the boundaries of our city. The definition of camping will be changed if approved to reflect spending more than 6 hours, day or night, within the same location. And the following locations will be added to the ordinance, which if passed would make it a misdemeanor to camp in any of the following locations: within 1,000 feet of the Sparks Marina shoreline, or within any city park or city parking structure. We have observed many individuals who have started camping in locations throughout our city that are not addressed by the current ordinance, hence the additional language. The police department has observed issues within the prescribed areas and has received numerous complaints from our citizens and business owners. Citizens are continually frustrated by the inability of all citizens to utilize city parks and city parking structures due to health and safety concerns brought about by a small portion of our population. Our businesses are being impacted by reduced patronage due to the same health and safety issues related to the choices of a few. Let me be clear, the police department will continue to focus on a service-first approach when dealing with our unhoused population. However, we will not stand by and allow the personal choice of a few to impact so many. I would like to take a moment to thank our HOPE team and the City Attorney's Office for their continued dedication and partnership in this effort. And I will pass it on to City Attorney Wes Duncan for a few comments.
Thank you, Chief Crawforth. For the record, Wes Duncan, City Attorney of Sparks, here for item 10.2. You know, I think too, as the chief highlighted, you know, this body in 2023 was really a leader in our region for being the first to pass ordinances that dealt with camping and living in vehicles, blocking sidewalks, and also expanding the Truckee River corridor within our city. And so this effort really, and this collaboration between the HOPE team and the City Attorney's Office is really an extension of that effort to ensure that we're remaining agile, that we're remaining proactive in both addressing homelessness and always continuing to try to connect people to services. But at the other end of that spectrum, it's also finding the right balance that we must enforce the law when homelessness is impacting public health, public safety, or those who are trying to enjoy public spaces. You know, when Councilman Abbott was talking about item 9.4 and talking about the impact that businesses have in Victorian, we were hearing from those businesses in particular that these camping and encampments were actually affecting their businesses, the ingress, egress for people trying to access the Victorian Square and those businesses. And so, as the chief said, we're obviously always going to connect people to services. We have a really, I think, proud record and history of doing that. But at the same time, people should know that the City of Sparks will stand with businesses, they will stand with the public, and we will always enforce the law for public health and public safety. So, you know, in June of 24, the grants pass decision at the Supreme Court really gave clarity for jurisdictions like ours that we can absolutely enforce the law and that we get to determine what are the tools that we can give law enforcement, prosecutors, and our cities the tools to be able to tackle this issue with both compassion, but also with enforcing the law. So the summary, the chief summarized at a high level of what those changes do, but in particular, so Chapter 9.48 of our code deals with what camping is. In this new ordinance, we're expanding, like the chief said, the locations. So You can't camp in the Victorian Square corridor. You can't camp in the Sparks Marina, city parks, or city-owned parking structures. And all of those places that are part of that ordinances are places that we specifically heard from the HOPE team about where the homeless who are resistant to services are starting to camp. And so these ordinances are that proactive ability from our jurisdiction and from our city to be able to try to tackle those issues as they come up. And what we really are finding and what jurisdictions are finding is that they have to be agile in addressing these type of issues, especially with the homeless that are resistant in our community. And then as the chief talked about, we changed the definition of camping to add not only you can't camp overnight in the parks, but also have a day and night provision that if there's an accumulation of over 6 hours, what we were seeing is that folks were camping overnight in these areas that weren't passed yet as a prohibition of camping, and then they were just moving right into a park, and then they were moving out of the park and doing those things. And so it was presenting challenges for the HOPE team to be able to try, again, to connect them to services. And when you talk to the HOPE team, and I know Sergeant Butler is present here as well, they are focused on trying to connect people to services always. And I think that that's an impressive track record that our police department definitely has. So as you'll see in 9.48.010, we've added subsection G, which includes the Sparks Marina, the public beaches, the walking path and playground, the city parks and public areas and amenities for all citizens. And that includes playgrounds surrounding recreational facilities. We added some definitions about that public property. We also added the definition for Victorian Square because we know, of course, we have our special events, and as that's all kicking off in the summer, we want to have a safe place for businesses and also for really tourists and people that are really trying to enjoy our vibrant downtown area. And then we were also added subsection I that deals with city-owned parking structures as well. As you can see in 9.48020, subsection 1, we added a provision that said any time of day or night for a period of time exceeding 6 hours within Truckee River will now be the definition of camping. And that was needed by our HOPE team to address some of those folks who were moving in and out of locations, but were still, in essence, camping and resisting services. And then we also have just clarifying that a city park means any area that's designated by the city council. It's a public park, playground, or recreational facility. And then there was finally just some cleanup language with the definitions in 9.48030. And that concludes the new changes to the ordinance. So happy to answer any questions that you may have, but again, to reiterate what Chief Crawford said, that this doesn't change anything in terms of a services first approach. In fact, it enhances it because it gives that approach that the HOPE team can say you have to connect services. You can't go into different parts of our city that weren't first covered by this ordinance. But I think it also sends the right message. The city of Sparks will enforce the law. They're going to protect businesses. They're going to protect public spaces, and we'll continue to do that in a compassionate way. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll open it up to questions from the council. Member Abbott?
Not so much a question, just I guess I want to thank yourself, Wes, and yourself, Chris, for the work getting here, as well as yourself, Sergeant Butler, back there. I know I bug you with a bunch of stuff, so I appreciate your service. As well as the whole HOPE team. I think you mentioned to Wes about we were leaders in this, through your leadership, Crawford, and just how appreciative I know so many of those Victorian Square businesses, as well as the whole community, especially just over at Memorial Park right now. As I wear a hat at the museum, being a board member, I hear about it all the time. Every time I'm there, and then I hear about it from
people of our community that are bringing their students there, their little kiddos trying to walk into the museum, and there's activities that's probably not the best that's going on in that area. So I just want to say thank you to you guys for creating something that has a little bit more enforcement, especially, with summer in the city. It wasn't a secret. I had a concern of us shutting down Victorian Square and people just moving into Victorian Square as a new spot. And I already hear about it from the businesses enough, and we're all going to hear about it if that happens. So just want to thanks for that leadership, and exciting that it's happening. And I love that we're doing the service first approach, obviously still, but just trying to help people, and also, like you were saying, Wes, about supporting our businesses and our residents and everyone all in one. So just good job to this. I don't have any questions right now. Thanks.
All right, Member Rodriguez.
Thank you. First, I do want to thank you, Chief, and City Attorney in this. There's got to be that healthy balance of, education, services, and enforcement. And I did have the pleasure of riding with our HOPE team, and it's definitely eye-opening in a lot of ways. Just for the record and for the public to know, so what are some of the services that our HOPE team, so the view is not that we're trying to kick people out, there's got to be a healthy balance. So can you kind of just give, for the record, some of the services that we're trying to educate this unhoused community on?
I can give you a few. Yeah, the CARES Campus, obviously, everyone knows about Our Place, which is within our city borders for, families and women's shelter, if you will. What our team really does and finds a lot of issues with is people not having the proper identification, Social Security cards, Medicare cards, things like that. So they're able to work with the different government agencies, also nonprofits, to get those cards, those identifications that are necessary for a lot of services, and they'll just work with them for weeks, if not months, to align those so they can get a lot of the different services that they should be receiving and haven't because they've lost those cards, had them stolen, things of that nature. So that's kind of a quick overview of some of the services.
Great, thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Member Bybee.
I'd like to thank both of you. Incredibly important what we're doing on this front. And I think when the HOPE team was first assembled and was out that first summer, we saw, and really what we're learning, I'm not in that field, but what I've learned from the HOPE team is that it's one by one, it's person by person. And we always have, my favorite story is of Jerry, the homeless man that they found in Victorian Square, laying on the street. And our HOPE team knew him because it was the 33rd contact they had with Jerry when he finally looked at him and said, I can't do this anymore. So it's building trust with someone who is homeless, getting services, whether it's identification cards, connecting with family, transitional housing, and each one of them is in a different situation. So I think the HOPE team, working with all our local agencies and other groups that work with the homeless population, has been outstanding. And I think that proactive approach. But on the flip side of it, I want to make sure, because that's a small number of people, aren't impacting the greater number of residents and, people with kids, whether I feel like my grandkids could ride their bikes down the Truckee River, or whether we come into Victorian Square or city parks for events, senior citizens who are walking their dogs, whatever it is, we have an obligation to protect the safety of our residents, which is the greater number. And I think, I really feel this is absolutely a step in the right direction, while at the same time trying to help with that homeless population. I don't want them infringing on the majority of people and businesses that are being harmed when we don't. So thank you both for the work that you both have done. I think we're making a difference for sure.
Thank you. I'll just jump in and say thank you to our HOPE team. The times I've ridden with them, they've been amazing. People from all walks of life that they're engaging with compassion and a genuine dignity level that they provide has been amazing. And I just want to commend the HOPE team for what they do. And Chief, great program. They're doing great things. And likewise, we need things like this that can have a little bit of teeth to help encourage people to take part in the services that are provided. And allow the parks and sidewalks and businesses to be able to be enjoyed by the rest of the community as well. So thank you, in the city attorney's office. I want to say thank you to Wes for bringing this to us and being flexible in this, adjusting as needed. So well done. This is a public hearing, so we're going to go ahead and open up to public hearing. All those members of the public that wish to speak, now would be the time if you care to speak on this item. Bill? We'll get you a mic here in just a moment, okay?
Bringing a mic.
And Bill, if you'd be so kind as to fill out a comment card before you head out. I don't think the mic's on.
Okay, here you go. My question is, do we have the manpower to handle these additional responsibilities?
As always, Bill, we're not able to respond to questions during this time, but we'll have the police chief connect with you before the end of the meeting here, okay?
Okay, that's great, thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions from the public, or comments, I should say? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to a vote. Member Bybee.
I move to adopt Bill number 2834, amending Chapter 9.48 of the Sparks Municipal Code, which prohibits camping on public property in the Truckee River Corridor, Sparks Marina Park Corridor, Victorian Square Corridor, city parks, and city-owned parking structures to become effective upon passage and approval.
All right, thank you. Member Rodriguez. Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Member Vanderwell? Aye. Thank you. And the motion passes unanimously. And Madam Clerk, we'll move on to 10.3.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is the second reading of Bill number 2835, an ordinance enacting Chapter 9.31 of the Sparks Municipal Code prohibiting the operation of unmanned aerial vehicles above or within 500 feet of special events or an emergency response scene.
Thank you. Chief.
Good afternoon again, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson, members of City Council. For the record, I'm Chris Crawford, your police chief. I'm actually asking very simply, I think, for a withdrawal of this at this time. I've had some community members come forward that I'd like to spend a little bit of time with and just finalize this, and they have some points that I want to make sure that we address before we bring it back before you, which I expect to have before the summer's out. So I'm just asking for this to be withdrawn so we can, if we need to make any changes or anything, that we have the ability to do that.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the council? All right, then we'll move on to the public hearing. This is a public hearing, and we do have one comment from Hunter Rand.
Hello, Hunter Rand, Ward 2 resident, Sparks business owner, licensed commercial drone pilot. I want to thank Chief Crawford for his willingness to engage directly with community members like myself. Following the last meeting where I and another speaker shared concerns about this proposed law, I had an extended and productive conversation with the chief, and I look forward to continuing that dialogue with him and other city staff. As someone who participated in the original federal rulemaking process for drones and who remains active in ongoing federal policy discussions, I support the staff's recommendation to withdraw this bill. As originally proposed, the ordinance is a little bit unenforceable, federally illegal, and exposes the city to unnecessary liability. U.S. Code 49, Section 40103 makes it clear that the federal government holds exclusive sovereignty over U.S. airspace. Many of the issues cited in the proposed ordinance are real and concerning, but many are covered under existing law. NRS 493, Section 106 makes it a felony to arm a drone, which is not covered by the FAA because it's on the ground. CFR 14, Part 107, Section 36 prohibits drones from carrying hazmat. Sections 3941 and 145 restrict flying over people, vehicles, or in controlled airspace without authorization. Nearly all of Sparks south of Los Altos is controlled airspace, and I'll come back to that. Part 91, Section 17 prohibits operating any aircraft, including drones, under the influence, what I call a fly UI, and empowers local law enforcement to conduct blood or breath tests and orders airmen to submit to them. U.S. Code 49, Section 46320 makes it a felony to interfere with law enforcement, firefighting, or emergency response operations. These regulations already exist, and violations of them are often felonies. The real challenge is enforcement. What we don't need is another law that targets licensed, trained, and compliant operators who follow the rules and often helped write them. We need creative policy that targets the actual risks. For example, regional laws that prohibit the retail sale of completed drones and flight controllers to individuals who aren't certificated, whether a trust certificate for hobbyists or a Part 107 certificate for commercial pilots. Because right now, anyone can walk into Best Buy, buy a drone for $1,500, and commit a felony in the parking lot in about 15 minutes, because that's controlled airspace too out there. I understand that this bill may return in revised form, and I'm encouraged by that. Something actionable, enforceable, and legally sound, something that empowers local law enforcement without restricting small business owners while respecting the national airspace system. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rand. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? And with that, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and have a question on this one to make sure that I understand the proper procedure here, since it was requested by staff to withdraw.
So I believe what we would recommend is that you continue the item, if Chief Crawford is okay with that, until the last meeting in August, which would meet his summer deadline, and we can create that motion for you.
Mayor Pro Tem, under consultation with the city attorney, I think the best point right now would be just to reject the entire thing. That would give us some avenues if we need to add some things, and then I can bring it back through a first reading and a second reading. And that could happen as soon as next month if we kind of get things ironed out.
All right, thank you. Then with that being said, we don't even need to go to a vote, do we?
Well, I think what Chief is asking for is the vote. He's asking for the council to deny it. That will eventually kill the vote, and then that he has after meeting with stakeholders.
Okay, and to give the clerk's office direction here, do we have someone that's willing to make a motion to that effect?
Give us just one moment,
So just
Mayor Pro Tem, and we'll get one for you.
Okay, so we have a motion presented to us here. Member Abbott,
I move to deny bill number 2835.
Mr. Rodriguez. All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Member Vanderwell?
Aye.
All right, with that, Mr. Rodriguez, do you wish to vote? All right, with that, it passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief. Have so many pages on this one, we get to sort through them all. Okay, we're on to item 11.1. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is public hearing, discussion, and possible adoption of resolution number 3464 to certify a comprehensive plan amendment to change the comprehensive plan land use designation from commercial C to tourist commercial TC for a 5.99 acre site located at 800 Holman Way, Sparks, Nevada, APN 027342111.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson and council members. For the record, Sienna Reed, Planning Manager. Earlier today, the city did receive a request from the applicant's representative to continue agenda items 11.1. So this agenda item, as well as 11.2 and 11.3 to your July 14th meeting date. Each of these items relate to a property located at 800 Holman Way. In terms of action today, council can grant or deny that continuance request. If council does choose to grant the continuance request, staff does recommend that a public hearing be opened for each of the agenda items and that council continue each item to date certain on July 14th, 2025. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. We also have the applicant's representative here with us today as well.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the council? And I just want to make sure that I understand this is a public hearing, so we're still going to open it up. Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and open this up. Any public comment on this item? And we'll close the public comment and bring it back for a vote. Member Rodriguez.
Move to continue this item to the July 14th, 2025 Sparks City Council meeting.
Right, thank you, Member Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Member Vanderwell? Aye. All right, thank you. Motion passes unanimously. 11.2.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is second reading of Bill number 2837, an ordinance to rezone real property approximately 5.99 acres in size located at 800 Holman Way, Sparks, Nevada, from C2 General Commercial to TC Tourist Commercial, APN 0273421.
Thank you. And you don't have anything you need to add? So with that, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment since I'm not seeing anything from the members here. It's open for public comment. Do we have anyone from the public wishing to speak on item 11.2? All right, not seeing any. We'll go ahead and close public hearing. And we'll bring it back to the council, and I'm willing to entertain a motion. Member Bybee?
I move to continue this item to the July 14th, 2025 Sparks City Council meeting.
Member Abbott?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Member Vanderwell? Aye. All right, passes unanimously. Thank you. And Madam Clerk, we'll open 11.3, please.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a request for a conditional use permit to allow an existing 7,891 square foot non-restricted gaming establishment to operate as a primary use in the TC Tourist Commercial Zoning District at 800 Holman Way, APN 027342111, PCN 18-0062/CU25-0003.
All right, thank you. Sienna? No. All right. Seeing no questions from council, we'll open up the public hearing. Any members wishing to speak? Sure. If you would, please fill out another comment card on that one as well.
Hunter Rand, Ward 2 resident. I actually spoke on this item. I didn't plan on speaking on this. I spoke at this item at the Planning Commission meeting when it first came up, of which I am very famous on Mexican television for, as I fell out of my chair and ended up on a talk show there. I just find it insincere. They seem to be using the same playbook that they do in Reno. And as I said at the meeting, even if it were to be denied, they'll just sue the city, just like the housing developments in Reno, and then it gets passed again. And it's something very common. I brought up, there was a storage unit facility in Mr. Rodriguez's Ward 5. And it went as far as lobbyists paid for by the applicant using classic intimidation tactics against family members of mine who live there, who were speaking up against it, trying to withdraw the idea that they would have a good faith conversation. And it just seems very insincere that it's all the way here and now they're continuing it. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rand. Any other public comment? All right, we'll go ahead and close that and bring it back to the council. And we have a motion. Member Abbott.
I move to continue this item to the July 14th, 2025 Sparks City Council meeting.
Thank you. Member Rodriguez.
Second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Member Vanderwell. Aye. All right, with that, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And Madam Clerk, 11.4, second reading.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is the second reading of Bill Number 2833, an ordinance to annex real property approximately 164.9 acres inside, located at 8100 Pyramid Way. Upon annexation, the parcel shall convert from a Washoe County zoning designation of A-7, agricultural 7 acres, to a City of Sparks zoning designation of A-40, agricultural.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. For the record, Scott Carey, Development Services Manager, for the record. Today for the Council's consideration are 4 public hearings and 4 land use entitlement requests associated with the Andelin Family Farms project in North Sparks. From a procedural standpoint, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'm going to do my best to combine all 4 items. So that's item 11.4, 11.5, 11.6, and 11.7 into one single presentation. But I will note that it does require 4 separate public hearings and 4 separate action items, similar to the last 3 you just did. So to begin with, this slide is a vicinity map showing the location of the Andelin family property located in North Sparks, just east of Pyramid Highway. The subject site is surrounded by the Stonebrook Plan development to the north, west, and east. To the south of the subject site is the Pioneer Meadows Plan development. And then this into the southwest of the property is the Lazy Five Regional Park. A little bit of background on this property. Ranching began on the site in 1917 when the Gaspari family transitioned the sagebrush into alfalfa fields, which was used to harvest feed for cattle and milk cows. In 1982, the Gaspari family sold the property to the Andelin farm, to the Andelin family. The site today is best known as the Andelin Family Farm. And since the fall of 2009, owners Cameron and Natalie Andelin have opened the farm to the public for agritourism use. The city has been working closely with the Andelins over the past 4 years to bring these 4 items before City Council today and coming up with the proposed project. This slide is an overview of the Andelin Farms property as it exists today. The pink area here in the northeast part of the property is what we know as the Adventure Farm. So that's where the corn maze is and the animals live. The darker blue here in the middle is the existing ranch house. The yellow area here is 3 existing single-family residences that exist on the property. And the northwest corner of the property is where they have a field, but they also use for festival parking. The southern end of the property, the dark green and the light green, are used for agricultural purposes. The main reason why we're here today with these land use entitlement requests is to bring the farm into the city, allow for future development, and allow the unique agritourism use to come into the city and grow into the future. The overall concept for this development, the entire site is about 115 acres in size. The northern 100 acres, the northern 100 acres would remain as the Venture Farm. There would be 15 acres of supporting commercial, and then the southern 49 acres, kind of bisected. This is here the future extension of Stonebrook Parkway, would be developed into single-family residential. So the first request before the Sparks City Council today is the annexation request. There's a total of 4 findings associated with an annexation request. So there are a total of 165 acres that are associated with this request. Finding C1 is that it conforms to the requirements of NRS Chapter 268. This site is contiguous to the city limits, and annexation is requested by 100% of the property owners. Finding A3 deals with conformance to the comprehensive plan. This site has been, or the city of Sparks has initiated territorial jurisdiction for planning over this site since 1991 and has been identified as an area for future growth in the city and subsequent master plan updates since that time. Finding A2 is that the annexation conforms to the findings of Sparks Municipal Code. Staff finds that the site is contiguous on all four sides of the current city limits. Annexation of this province would remove what staff calls a county island. County island exists today, and the site does meet all requirements, we believe, of NRS and Sparks Municipal Code. The Truckee Meadows Regional Plan has identified this area as being within the Truckee Meadows service area. Continuing on with finding A2, there's additional water and sewer lines that are required to be installed to accommodate future development on this property. Future water will be provided by Truckee Meadows Water Authority. Sanitary sewer will be provided by the city down the road. Staff believes that this annexation would support goal MG7 of the comprehensive plan, which is annexation is needed for future growth and represents a logical extension of the city limits. The final part of finding A2 is fiscal impact. Wanted to just briefly hit that. There was, as part of this project, a fiscal impact analysis that was conducted. The fiscal impact analysis determined that over a 20-year period, there would be an $8.6 million economic impact to the city's overall budget. Of that, there would be an expenditure of $6.9 million over a 20-year period to the city's road fund, resulting in a $1.7 million overall fiscal impact over that 20-year period. Staff has notified Washoe County of this annexation request, and we have received no objections from Washoe County planning staff. Moving on to the comprehensive plan request. The slide on this side of the screen is the existing land use plan. As you can see, it's predominantly master plan for low density residential. The proposal is on the right hand of the screen, and so the northern half of the project is they're proposing commercial land use, and then the southern half would be the intermediate density residential. One thing staff would like to point out with the proposed land use plan, under the existing land use plan, the yellow, a total of 917 dwelling units to the acre could theoretically be constructed on the property. Under the proposed land use configurations, that density would be reduced to 491 dwelling units to the acre in terms of overall maximum density. The intent behind the commercial land use is to allow for future development in the remaining areas on the north side of the future extension of Stonebrook Parkway with agricultural and supporting commercial uses. One of the challenging things with this project is our comprehensive plan does not identify a specific land use type for agritourism. Staff did look at open space, which we traditionally use for farms in the city in our master plan, felt that didn't quite capture the supporting commercial and other activities of the agritourism. Also took a look at tourist commercial, which is our most intense land use category. We felt that was a little too intense for this area of the city. So that's why we kind of landed on the proposed commercial. The subject site is designated Tier 2 in the regional plan, and it is located within the Truckee Meadows service area. Properties within the Tier 2 land designation are characterized by suburban development and are less intense than other areas of the city. The Regional Planning Commission at their April 24th meeting did find the proposed land use changes in conformance with the Truckee Meadows regional plan. Moving on to the proposed rezone. On the left-hand side of the screen, upon annexation, the property would automatically convert from its current Washoe County zoning of A7 to City of Sparks zoning A40. A40 is our agricultural main zoning district. The proposal on the left is what the applicant is proposing. The northern 115 acres would be covered by proposed planned development, and the southern half of 49 acres would be the proposed SF6. That's single family residential, 1 unit for every 6,000 square feet. There are 4 findings each for the comprehensive plan and the proposed rezone requests, and I'll do my best to combine those two into these following slides. With respect to the comprehensive plan amendment, finding CP1 is conformance with the regional plan. This subject site is within the Tier 2 land use designation and is located within the TMSA. The proposed intermediate density residential land use designation allows for a density of 6 to 10 dwelling units per acre. As outlined in the staff report, the proposed modifications to the comprehensive plan, staff believes are compatible with regards to existing densities and intensities with surrounding land uses. With respect to finding C2 and the zoning finding of Z1, as outlined, the proposed comprehensive plan amendment and rezone supports these following goals of the comprehensive plan. The next set of findings that are required for the comprehensive plan and the rezone are compatibility. And that's compatibility with surrounding land uses. Policy CP3 for the proposed land use change is the redesignation of the site from primarily low-density residential to intermediate density residential, commercial, and open space. Staff believes will allow for more concentrated single-family residential development on the southern end of the site, and will allow for the remaining areas of the site to be used with the supporting commercial and agritourism use. Staff believes that changing the proposed comprehensive land use designations on the subject sites is compatible with surrounding land uses. Finding Z2 is consistency with surrounding land uses for the rezone. As proposed, the redesignation of the site from A40 to the proposed SF6 and PD zoning will allow for more concentrated development on the southern end of the site, and will allow for the supporting commercial and agritourism uses to continue on the site. Staff submits that changing the zoning changes is compatible with the surrounding land uses. The final findings with respect to the comprehensive plan and rezone requests are public notification. On February 19th, the applicant held a public meeting, neighborhood meeting at the Spanish Springs Library to discuss the proposed entitlements. The Planning Commission meeting and the City Council meetings functions as public hearings for this item as well too. Every property owner within 750 feet was notified of these public hearings. Public notice was also published in the Reno Gazette Journal on June 6th for today's public hearing. A copy of all of the comments received by staff on these items has been included in the staff reports. The last item for the City Council's consideration today is approval of the tentative handbook. As mentioned before, the northern 115 acres outlined on the left-hand side of the screen here is proposed to be covered by a handbook. The primary rationale for doing a planned development handbook on this site is to allow for the unique agritourism use to continue on the site. Sparks Municipal Code does not have agritourism defined, so one of the big rationales is to with this handbook is to put in specific standards for how that use would operate within the city. Another key consideration with the planned development is to establish alternative temporary parking standards for special events. As we mentioned, in the northwest corner of the site is existing agricultural field. They grow alfalfa, and during special events, it's used for parking. Under the city's municipal code, does not allow for that type of pavement or facility to be brought into the city. So this handbook would identify specific improvements and standards for how to allow for that temporary parking during seasonal events. I will note that the proposed handbook does provide a maximum of 80 days per year that this field could be used for the festival parking. Another key consideration of the handbook is that it does require a minimum of 50 acres of agricultural land or open space to remain within the planned development. And the intent on this is to preserve the history of the farm and preserve open space. So there are 7 required findings for the temporary or the tentative handbook. The first finding is consistency with the objectives of the state law. The objective of the planned development is to preserve the farming culture and offer the public an opportunity to experience seasonal changes through various festivals and family attractions. This development plan will allow the existing activities on the farm, such as the existing seasonal events, to continue and operate in the city, but will also allow the expansion of those festivals in the future. By introducing a new land use type, agritourism, the plan ensures that the preservation of the land's historical agricultural use will remain while allowing festivals to grow within the community. Finding PD2 is a departure from zoning and subdivision regulations. Staff finds that the shift to less restrictive development standards, as outlined in the handbook, to allow for the agritourism use and supporting commercial areas is in the public's interest as it increases compatibility with surrounding land uses and encourages fiscally responsible development. Furthermore, the proposed plan development handbook allows the subject site to contribute to diverse mix of land uses, enhancing economic vitality and providing additional resources to neighboring residents. Finding PD3 is the ratio of residential and non-residential development. There are 4 residences on the subject site, the main ranch house and the 3 other residences. The proposed plan development handbook allows for these existing residences to continue to operate on the site in support of the farm. The proposed plan development is not intended to provide any new residential uses and is intended to allow for new uses within the development to support the agritourism and future commercial development. PD4 is common open space. Although not explicitly labeled as common open space, the majority of the 100 acres that's included in the agritourism land use in the proposed handbook will remain as open space. The handbook also includes the requirement that a minimum of 50 acres of the agricultural land would remain for use as agricultural. PD5 is public services. As outlined in the infrastructure section of the proposed handbook, all properties of this handbook shall participate in the city's Impact Fee Service Area 1 program. The future extension, Stonebrook Parkway was constructed to support future development. Pipe sizes are in place to accommodate future densities on the southern end of the site. Police and fire protection will be provided by the city of Sparks, which is already providing services to the adjacent properties. New development will further be evaluated during the land use entitlement process and building process to determine additional impacts on services. PD6 is the relationship to the neighborhood. And the 100-acre agritourism land use within the proposed handbook will allow for uses intended to preserve the agricultural history of the Spanish Springs Valley and allow the farm to operate much the same way that it is today. Finally, finding PD7 protects the interests of the public, residents, and owners. The proposed plan development handbook outlines the phased approach to the required site improvements for the future adventure farm. Future development and other uses within the plan development will require at least an administrative review. There's other uses that would require conditional use permit. The handbook also identifies additional development standards that will need to be applied for future development. So, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council, in conclusion, the main reason why we're here today is, with all 4 of these land use entitlements, is to bring the farm into the city, to preserve the farm, and allow for the unique agritourism use to come into the city and grow in the future. As pointed out with the future development concept, the 115 acres on the northern half would be part of the plan development handbook. The southern half would be developed for future singles family under the SF6 zoning code. One thing I did want to point out at the Planning Commission meeting, and afterwards, there's been some confusion and misinformation thrown out about the proposed project. At the Planning Commission public hearing, several members of the public stated that the realtor had informed them that the farm would always stay and there would be no development whatsoever that would take place on the farm site. While there's not much that the city can do to prevent this misinformation that a realtor may have told a property owner, I can state that this property has been included in the city's sphere of influence since 1991, and since that time has been included in every City of Sparks master plan update as an area for future growth. Under the city's existing master plan, land uses on the farm, a total of 917 units could be constructed. With the proposed land use changes, that density would go down to 491. I would like to take this opportunity to state for the record that it's the city's intention to bring this project into the city to preserve the majority of the farm as a community amenity along with supporting commercial uses. Another important component of this project is to allow for future development in a more concentrated fashion on the south end of the future extension of Stonebrook Parkway. With that being said, the Planning Commission is recommending that the City Council approve the annexation, the comprehensive plan, rezone, and tentative handbook. The applicant is here. They have a short presentation, but I'd be happy to answer any questions by the council.
Mr. Carey, well done. This is definitely the most extensive Planning Commission or planning meeting that we've heard from you. So well done. Good job. What we'll do is we'll open up to questions from the council. And no questions just yet? Do we want the applicant? If the applicant would be willing to come down and present?
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Hasty. I'm with Wood Rogers. I'm representing the applicant, the Andelin family. I'm just going to say a few words here and then turn it over to Cameron. Scott did a great job with the presentation and going through all the findings and everything. I'd just like to say it's been a long time that we've been working with the city on this. So to city staff, I really want to extend a thank you for working with them on this. But just to reiterate what Scott said in the last bit of his presentation, what the Andelin family is trying to do is continue the legacy that they started in 2010 and to allow this use to go into the city of Sparks. It makes sense with the annexation, the city services around there, and really their goal here is to allow the same use that has been occurring to continue to grow. So although we are requesting 4 items here, and there's a lot of findings and there's a lot of information that we have to provide to show that we can do that, really what this is going to do over the next few years is you will not really notice a difference in Andelin family farms and how they operate. The commercial future of that is, you know, the Andelins would love to continue to, they're going to be the ones to decide what goes in there and most likely going to be operating that. So the commercial, the reason why we have a second component to that is so that this would allow for a use to go on 365 days a year, while the farm continues to farm, but also just have those seasonal festivals that they're known for. So I would be happy to dive into any other specific questions you have. I have a long presentation that we can pull up a bunch of things if you have any specific questions that we could go over those. Other than that, I'll turn it over to Cameron if you don't want to say anything else.
For the record, Cameron Andelin, co-owner and operator of Andelin Family Farm with my wife. And thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and council members and city attorney and everybody else. So we're pretty excited to be here at this juncture. And I was thinking about 16 years ago, and we were deciding, it was about this time, and we were like, let's plant some pumpkins. And if they grow, we'll have a pumpkin patch. And our kids were all really little, and our goal was really, and I was working a full-time, what I called my desk job in my career in accounting. And our goal as a husband and wife and parents was to have a fun project for our kids and a family project that they could learn to work and maybe earn some money. So the first couple of years we did that, and it was very small, and that our goal was really about our kids. And it was great to have the community come out, and it was, we would be excited when we'd get maybe like 50 people on a Saturday. Hey, this 50 people came out. That was great. It wasn't profitable financially, but it was very profitable in so many other ways. As it grew, we decided, wow, this is crazy. This might actually be something that we could do to provide for our family. And so after much consideration, we decided for me to quit my full-time job, and we went all in on the farm. And we kind of went farm or went for broke. And it was either going to sink or swim. So it was great. And we thought this is a great way to provide a living for our family, and we can kind of do it together and everything. And it just started growing and growing. And then there came a point where we thought, this is pretty incredible. And as the community supported us, and it was a wonderful thing, we felt so supported. People would come out, and we also, in turn, we provided a wonderful value and experience for people that came to the farm and the different events. And then the next thing we thought was, this is turned into quite a gem in our community. And how could we preserve this legacy and this to go beyond us, my wife and I? And so that's really what this is about, is how can we set this up to preserve it, to go beyond us for generations to come, so that our grandkids and future generations in our community can enjoy the farm and the events that we're doing. So I wanted to say thank you to the city staff that we've worked with. We've come up with some creative solutions for this. I also want to say thanks to Eric and his team at Wood Rogers, and also to council members and everybody that's been a part of helping us try to find this good solution of continuing this legacy. So thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll open it up to council. Any questions now? Or comments? Yes. Member Bybee.
We're doing this now, then public hearing, okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just have to say that this is something I've been working with the Andelins for 4 years on. It's in my ward, and it just is such an exceptional, you said it, Cameron, it's a gem in our community. And as we've watched, because I've lived here most of my life, and I've watched all the different parcels of farms, and whether it was potatoes or agriculture, disappear as we grow, and there's more housing, there's more shopping centers, and even our former Mayor Martini, whose farm was, right on Prater, what is now Prater and Vista, we don't see those spaces anymore. And to preserve your legacy, but really the legacy of agriculture in this community, and most importantly, because we really pride ourselves in being family friendly, and we want spaces and activities for families, for kids, for grandkids, and I really see that on your farm of all the things that you have grown. They're literally grown, but then the support from this community, from the pumpkin patches to sunflowers to baby animals, and then in meeting with you to know that you're bringing out senior citizens that are coming from, maybe assisted living, that just a day out to see the farm, to have goat yoga, which I have yet to try, so I'm not sure if I'm going there or not. Painting, watercolor painting. It just, and what impressed me too is how many people benefit from this. It's not just if you have kids, anyone can come out and be a part of it. I know people who've retired from their jobs and are working for you. I also know that you've talked about how many teenagers get their first job working, on the farm and pulling weeds and planting. And it just has an overall community benefit that can't even be measured. I mean, you can't even put a price on preserving something so important to our community. And so I am excited that we're finally here. I think it's a perfect fit. I love some of your plans on the commercial side of it. Their shop, the farm store there is amazing. Every time I go out, I shop there. It's got just really cool things. And to really offer that as a space, whether it's special events or weddings or private parties, as well as all the festivals you have, it provides a place for our residents and businesses to go and to enjoy. And I think preserving that is really important. And we're doing that with this action today. People have called panicked that we're getting rid of the farm. And that's really the opposite. This is the intent of this, is to preserve the farm and the benefits to your family, but the benefits really broader to the whole community, because it is just such an asset that I'm really proud is in our city, or will be in our city if we pass this. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. And that is in Spark. So thank you. And thank you to staff. I need to thank Jim Rundle and staff from where we started with this and all the things our code said you couldn't do. And I asked about agritourism because it's something we don't have. And as we look at other possible parcels down the road, the handbook for this fits everything that this unique property meets, and that we were able to not be so handcuffed by our own city code, that we were able to find a way to yes, which is really our goal here at the city. So thank you.
All right, I'm not seeing any more questions or comments from the members here, but I do want to say to the Andelin family, thank you for what you guys have been doing, contributing to our community, making it a better place for everyone. And it's incredible to go from the 50 people that would turn out to now, I can't imagine how many thousands that you see for some of your events. And just the fact that, one, you want to be a part of the city and build your business and your agri-tourism is exciting. I tell folks when I met my wife, she boarded her horse at a place called the Pawnee Ranch. It was right across from our police station. Middle of nowhere, that was all pasture land out there, and we used to go horseback riding up in the mountains. That's all now businesses and houses. And it's neat to see that you guys want to retain some of that rural effect that we can have in our community and bring that to folks to enjoy. So I appreciate that. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up to public comment. With that, we'll start out first with Madam Clerk. I understand we had quite a few comments on this.
We did, Mayor Pro Tem. The City Clerk's Office received 126 emailed in public comments. 125 of those were in support of Andelin Family Farm, and one was opposed, specifically to item 11.6. All of those comments are attached in one nice little PDF on item 11.6 on your agenda packets, and will be posted for the public after the meeting today.
Great, thank you very much. And then what we'll do is we'll open up to public comment here in the room. We'll start out with Mr. Kevin McGee.
Kevin McGee, for the record. I'm the Deputy Director of the Office of Small Business Advocacy. I'm here on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor. It's made it a big priority to promote agricultural tourism, so we're here in support, and we just want to thank everyone for your work on this, the council, staff, everyone involved. I have a colleague who's going to come up and say a few more words, but just again, thank you all for this.
All right. And Garrett, and I apologize, I'm going to mangle your last name. So if you would introduce yourself, please.
It's Garrett Tamani.
Tamani.
It's got a silent G.
All right. I'm glad I didn't try and pronounce it.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, council members. I'm Garrett Tamani on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor's Office. Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony is in strong support of Bill number 2833, Andelin Family Farm, and agriculture tourism in general. Because Lieutenant Governor Anthony's duties include promoting tourism and outdoor recreation, he has made supporting agriculture tourism a priority of his office. Agritourism diversifies revenue for Nevada's farmers and ranchers. Businesses like Andelin offer family-friendly activities, drawing visitors to engage in wholesome educational experiences that strengthen our community. Bill number 2833 fosters economic growth, supports local businesses, and creates a vibrant agritourism destination in Sparks. We urge the council to pass it to advance these shared goals. And we'd like to thank Councilwoman Bybee for her help on this and staying active with our office on agriculture tourism.
Great, thank you, sir. Any other folks from the public wishing to speak? All right, we'll go ahead and, oh, I'm sorry, Bill.
Thank you. Now, I know this is a question I'm not supposed to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How many homes are they going to build there?
Did you get that? Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, we can have staff visit with him afterwards and provide that information.
All right. Thank you. And if that's it, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion. And before we actually go to a vote on this first item here, I do want to thank staff. I know we've been trying to get away from handbooks and everything because those can be such a nightmare. But I really like the idea of the handbook and being able to be flexible in something that the city's never done before. So well done from all of you that have worked on this. All right, with that, Mr. Abbott.
Yes, thank you, sir. I'll just thank or echo your thanks to staff. I know it's been a long time coming, as well as to the Andelins for staying with it. And that's been a process. And I think you said it best, Mr. Andelin, about you didn't make a lot of money that first year, but you made a lot of memories. I know you grew up here in this community. You've made a lot of memories yourself being here, as well as a lot of individuals in our community of all ages that that farm, it's magical, I think is probably the best word choice to a lot of people. And I'm excited that you guys are coming to us to look at the future and not waiting until it's too late to try to come up with a good plan and making sure we can keep this farm around. Because I know, there's 125 emails of supportive people, and I know we would have heard, we heard a lot of, I know we got probably others or phone calls ourselves of just all the great things that yours are doing out there, and just, I love it, and thanks for keeping it open too, of maintaining some open space. That's one of our last 2 real farms left in Sparks that is still a jewel, and that's what we became a town based around, well, before the railroad showed up, but that's what we were doing. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you to staff for all the hard work. So, as well as yourself, Councilwoman Bybee, I know you've been leading this charge too, so thank you.
Okay, and with that, I think we're ready to take a motion. Member Bybee?
I move to adopt Bill number 2833, an ordinance to annex real property approximately 164.9 acres in size, located 8100 Pyramid Way, adopting findings A1 through A4 as set forth in the staff report.
Member Rodriguez? Second. All right, thank you. We have a first and a second. Member Vanderwell? Are you okay? And please vote. Thank you. And the motion passes unanimously. And with that, we'll move on to 11.5. Anything that we need to add there, we're good to move? Okay, with that being said, we'll open it up for public hearing. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on item 11.5? We'll close public hearing and bring it back to the council for a vote. And do we have a motion on 11.5? I think we're kind of hung up on our computer. Please forgive us for a moment here.
Good.
Was it?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh,
I move to adopt resolution number 3465 to certify a comprehensive plan amendment to change the comprehensive planned land use designations from 152.8 acres of low-density residential, LDR, 3.7 acres of open space, OS, and 8.4 acres of arterial roadway designation to 8.6 acres of open space, OS, 107.29 acres of commercial, and 49.03 acres of intermediate density residential, IDR, for a 164.9 acre site generally located at 8100 Pyramid Way, APNs 528-030-13, 14, 15, and 16, based on findings CP1 through CP4 as set forth in the staff report.
Mr. Rodriguez.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Member Vanderwell?
Aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously. And we'll move on to item 11.6. Madam Clerk, do you need to read each of these as well?
For the second reading, Mayor Pro Tem, I would recommend that we do. Be happy to do it.
Okay.
This is the second reading of Bill number 2838. Ooh. To rezone a 164.9 acre site from A-40 agricultural 40 acres zoning to 115.89 acres to planned development PD and 49.03 acres to single-family residential 6,000 square foot lots SF6 located at 8100 Pyramid Way.
Thank you. No changes? And then any other questions before we go to public hearing? All right. Open up public hearing for this item. Anyone wishing to speak on item 11.6? We'll close public hearing and bring it back for a vote. And on this one, Member Abbott.
Move to adopt bill number 2838 to rezone a 164.9 acre site from A40 agriculture 40 acres zoning to 115.89 acres to planned development PD and 49.03 acres to single-family residential 6,000 square foot lots, SF6, request RZ1-0002 based on findings Z1 through Z3 as set forth in the staff report associated with PCN 21-008.
Thank you, Member Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
All right, please vote. Member Vanderwell? Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. And we'll move on to items 11.7. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the tentative Andelin Ranch Plan Development Handbook on a 115.89 acre site located at 8100 Pyramid Way.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead. I don't see any questions from the council, so we'll open up public hearing. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? And with that, we'll go ahead and close public hearing and open it up for motion. Member Bybee.
I move to tentatively approve the Andelin Ranch Plan Development Handbook associated with PCN 21-0008, adopting findings PD1 through PD7 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report, requiring the applicant to file the application for the final approval for the plan development within 1 year from the date of the City Council granting tentative approval of the Plan Development Handbook, and finding that a performance bond is not required at this time due to the nature of the plan development as stated in NRS 278A-490.
Member Rodriguez.
I second.
All right. Please vote. Member Vanderwell. Aye. All right. With that, once again, passes unanimously. Thank you. And we'll move on to item 12.1, public comment. We have anyone from the public wishing to speak? All right, we'll move on then to item 12.2, announcements from mayor, city council, or city manager.
Nothing from me, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you.
City council? Nope. All right, then we are on to item 13, adjournment. Thank you. City council members, hang tight. We have a redevelopment meeting.
Good job. Good job.
Congratulations.
Hey guys.
Good to see you again.
And excited about it, I can tell.
Present.
Okay, got it. I will call to order today's Structured Development Agency meeting with a roll call.
Chairperson Abbott.
Here.
Agency members Lawson is absent. Vanderwell. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Bybee.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Chief Legal Officer Duncan.
Here.
Chief Administrative Officer Lawson.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much. We'll go to item 3, public comment. Any public comment? I'm gonna say no. I don't think so. So we'll go on to item 4.1, agenda, approval of the agenda, looking for a motion. Agency member Anderson. We have a motion, agency member Rodriguez. We have a motion and a second, please vote. Agency member Vanderwell? Aye. Awesome, passes unanimously. Item 5.1, minutes, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the minutes of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for May 27th, 2025. Looking for a motion, agency member Rodriguez.
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for May 27, 2025.
Thank you very much. Agency member Anderson.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Agency member Vanderwell.
Aye.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. 6.1, consent items, consideration and possible acceptance of the report of the claims and bills and the appropriation transfers for the, oh, that's a motion. I got way off. Sorry. Report for the claims and bills approved for payment appropriation transfers for the period of May 13th, 2025 through June 9th, 2025. Looking for a motion. Agency member Anderson.
Move to accept report of claims and bills and appropriation transfer period of May 15th, June 9th.
Thank you. Agency member Rodriguez. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Agency member Vanderwell. Aye. Passes unanimously. No business items. On to 8.1, comments from the public. Any public comment? Chief Crawford? No? Okay. We will close 8.1. We'll go on to 8.2, announcements from the agency member and chief administrative officer. Nothing. One thing I will add, just to make sure we all have it, on this coming Wednesday, they do have that I-80 East NV.com widening of I-80 eastward out to USA Parkway. Obviously, I know we don't have much say on that, but just if anyone wants to attend, it'll be virtual. It'll be out in Lockwood. On Wednesday evening at 4 o'clock, you should have a little postcard in your mailbox for it. And the website just went live finally last week, but I think we all get lots of comments about that. So just throwing that out there. That's all I got. And I will adjourn at 3:57.